This continues our lectures for section 2.3. We're using rules this time in order to add integers. Now, the rules go like this, that if we have the same signs, we're going to take the absolute value of the add-ins and add them up and keep the common sign. Or if they're different signs, then we're going to take the absolute values of the add-ins. We're going to subtract the smaller one from the larger one, or another way of saying that same thing is big one minus small one, and then we're going to keep the sign of the larger number. Now, I'm going to just very much abbreviate this, and I'm going to use some notation in order to show you how that's done. So the first one we're going to do here is a really easy one. These are both positive numbers. We already know from long time experience that when we add two positive numbers, we get another positive number. So there's really nothing to show on this one. So this is just a fraction problem, really. And so we know in order to add fractions, we have to have a common denominator. 3 and 4 have no factors in common, and therefore we know from our last experience with fractions that our LCD is going to be the product of 3 and 4, which is going to be 12. And so we're going to build the higher terms for each of these, which is 12. And then we're going to be able to add. So 3 times 4 is equal to 12, and 2 times 4 is equal to 8, and then 4 times 3 is equal to 12, so 3 times 1 is equal to 3, and there's our higher terms. Now we add those up, numerators. 8 plus 3 is 11, and the denominator is 12. I'm going to be very thorough here, and I'm going to put in that it is an addition or a positive, because when we add two positive numbers we really do get a positive. But I do not expect you to actually write that positive in. So just to bring that home, I'm going to erase that out and say there you go, that's all you have to write is 11/12, because that truly is it. Okay, now the rules for adding when we have different signs. First of all, we need the absolute values. So the absolute value of 13 is indeed 13. The absolute value of negative 15 is 15. Now from those, we're going to make a judgment of which one's bigger. So the 15's bigger. So what we're doing, and I'm going to put this in parentheses too, because parentheses say this is what you do first. I'm going to say, okay, first of all, I'm going to take the difference of these two numbers, the big one minus the small one. And so once I've done that, the parentheses say once I've done that, then I'm going to attach the sign of the bigger one. Well, the bigger one, the one that you put here first in the subtraction problem, was a negative, so it's going to be a negative out here. Now this is my shorthand notation for telling you these rules over here. So it says subtract 15 and 13, so we get 2. And then it's a negative, so it's a negative 2. And those are that's my process. Now my next problem down here has two negative numbers. So the process starts out with taking the absolute value of each of them. So the absolute value of a negative 75 is a 75, and the absolute value of a negative 12 is a 12. Now the rules over here for different signs say when I have different signs, the rule says for when I have the same signs, which negative 75, negative 12, same signs, when I have the same signs, I'm going to add these numbers up, and the absolute values are what I'm adding up. So I'm adding 75 and 12, and that's the first thing that I'm going to do. So I'm going to use a set of parentheses to say, look, that's the first thing I did. And then when I'm all done, my second step is to keep this common sign. They're both negatives, so the common sign that I'm keeping is a negative, just like that. And so I have add these two numbers together, so we have 5 plus 2, which is 7, and 1 plus 7, which is 8, and then keep the common sign, which is negative, and my final answer being a negative 87. Now going on to my next problem here, we have fractions. And again, with the fractions, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to have a negative 1/4 here plus 3/4. And so I see, first of all, I need to get the absolute values of these. And my absolute values of a negative 1/4 is a 1/4. And then the absolute value of positive 3/4 is 3/4. And then I have to see that, okay, I have different signs. So different signs, I'm going to subtract the absolute values. The bigger one and then minus the smaller one. And we're going to probably continue on in the next lecture with this